It's been said of brook trout that they don't live in ugly places. And I'm certain that any angler that spends time in pursuit of them would agree. From my childhood fishing in Nova Scotia through my travels, there is nothing to lead me to believe that that isn't true. They are the canary in the coal mine for a healthy system, symbolizing clean, cool water, and provide us with the sense that if you're catching brookies, all is right with that little part of the world. Join us now as we explore one of those places, Eastern Labrador with Igloo Lake Lodge, and get a glimpse into one of the truly special eastern brook trout fisheries on the planet. If you're a brook trout fanatic and dream of fishing in places where the trout are measured in pounds and not inches, there are places like that. This week, we're at one of them. We came into this nice calm bay here, and we did see a couple of fish rise. Ed just mentioned to me, don't hesitate to cast to the other side. We don't know, they could be anywhere in here. We're hosted by Igloo Lake Lodge in Eastern Labrador, and we're gonna be fishing trophy eastern brook trout with a variety of presentations. There he is. He got it. He got it. That was pretty. That was pretty. Hopefully, we're gonna find actively feeding fish on the surface and go after them with that. But if not, we'll go deep with streamers. Well done, Ed. Way to go. Fantastic. We're gonna explain to you the presentations that we're using and why they're effective, and hopefully bring some of these big fish to the net. All of this and more is coming to you next on The New Fly Fisher.
That is absolutely huge. Look at him right there. This is insanity. Insanity.
Oh, that is a bright fish too, Mark. That is excellent.
Salmon fishing is long periods of monotony broken up by complete friggin' chaos. I've had 3 of the best days of fishing I've had in my life.
The New Fly Fisher is supported by Newfoundland and Labrador Outfitters Association, Scientific Anglers, Trout Unlimited, WeatherTech Canada,
Depending on the size of your party, you may fly in from Goose Bay on either the Lodge's Beaver Float plane or in the Twin Otter from Air Borealis. Either way, it's a pleasant flight in, and you really get a feel for the remoteness of this region. After the usual introductions and getting acquainted with the facility and our accommodations, I took some time before lunch to set up my gear, more than eager to get on the water. The Gillinghams and their staff made me feel at home, and it wasn't long before I felt comfortable in my new surroundings. Everything from the equipment and waiter room to the main lodge was practically laid out, and I got the impression right off the bat that this wasn't just a fishing lodge, but a well-oiled machine, geared to making their guests comfortable and at home. After dinner, my guide for the trip Edwin Dominique, took us to one of the beats within a short walk of the camp. There's no lack of types of water at Igloo Lake to fish, and I was pretty happy to be on a river this evening, knowing that the majority of the next couple of days would be spent on the open water. I'm not going to make more of this than it is, but I've had a pretty comprehensive, albeit vicarious illustration of Igloo Lake, having watched previous shows that the new fly fisher has produced here, and having known several anglers that have visited. And because of this, my expectations were pretty high.
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir, yeah! Well, we're finally here at Igloo Lake. This is a place I've been wanting to visit for a long time. My father visited here about 3 years ago and fished with you. So we got a little fogged in this morning, which is fairly common, but now you can see it's big bluebird skies, middle of the day, not the best time to fish, but Ed was gracious enough to offer to take us out this afternoon and just, you know, kind of get acquainted. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna fish here at this little run. He's told me they've got some nice fishing here over the last couple of days, so we're gonna flail away and see what happens. I like that. I like that little cushion right in behind that rock. Will they take that when it's sunk?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They like it moving though when it's sunk. Now even right over past that line of foam.
Okay.
On the other side of that too sometimes. Right by that rock, you can see onto that sunken rock.
This rock?
Yeah.
On the far side?
Either side.
Inside?
That's how they like it, like that.
The river behind the lodge is as pretty as it gets, and in a normal year, with normal conditions, it is absolutely loaded with smaller brook trout, smaller by Igloo Lake standards. But it also holds large fish, and since I hadn't really connected with a big trout in the moving water, I was eager to give it a go. Again, Ed got me steered in the right direction, and it wasn't long before we found a fish.
Right, a little higher on the other side of the current.
Okay,
Oh, little one.
little guy, that's always a good sign. I got him, Ed.
Yeah, I know, I come over anyway, just in case. Get something bigger. It's all just Benjamin's. It's named after the original owner's grandson. Usually in the fall of the year, this is where the bigger fish congregate down here.
To spawn?
This to spawn,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Back through here, there's big spawning beds,
Okay.
but they're just coming through right now.
So there's a lot of gravel in here. I can feel it.
Lots of gravel,
under my
yes.
feet. I mean, there's big rocks, but there is lots of that
lots of
good,
gravel.
that good pea-sized
Yep.
gravel. I'm a river guy, so I like moving water.
Right
I mean,
on.
this is my
Same here.
my happy place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's try and get another one. We've rested it for a few minutes. Took that little bug on the swing,
Took it on the water, didn't he?
pretty much like Ed said it would be. Yeah, it's not a monster, but it's still a nice fish. Probably 16 inches. Might be a little bigger than 16. Good. Nice. Nice. That's what we came to Benjamin's for.
We came to Benjamin's for, buddy. See a big scar on it?
Oh yeah. That's probably a bird.
I thought we were birds, yeah.
Yep. Nice.
No problem.
Way to go. Way to go. We wandered upstream, sort of sticking and moving, with Ed pointing out various targets. We found fish pretty much everywhere that Ed said we would. And although I didn't take any other larger fish this morning, I had consistent action with the bug and had an absolute hoot doing it. Wow. Right on that lip.
Look at this.
You got him. That was great. Brook trout grow relatively fast, and in the right environment, can reach trophy proportions in 5 years or less. So seeing this broad range of age class hanging around the river was encouraging, and gave me a sense that Igloo Lake would remain a trophy fishery for the unforeseeable future. It is quite literally a brook trout factory.
Below that, we've got 2 orange boxes, survival kits. In addition, we've got a big gray box on the floor. First aid kit up on the bulkhead, and a 410 shotgun. The shells are in the gray box, as well as bear bangers if you needed them. Coming forward, we've got 4 exit, 2 large, 2 small. They open the same way. I'm gonna put you up front, Rob.
Okay.
So you're gonna have a shoulder strap in addition to the lap belt.
Okay.
The lap belt is just like any airplane you've been in. Just plug it in, click.
Yeah.
You guys rock. We'll see you in a few hours.
Yes, sir.
One of the angling options at Igloo Lake is Burton's Pond. Located just west of Igloo, Burton's can be accessed by canoe ride across the main lake and then a reasonably short portage, or by air with the Beaver. I was fortunate enough to have the Beaver in camp while staying there, so on our second day, we loaded our gear for the short, just 10-minute hop onto Burton's Pond. Once we had our gear squared away on the boat and Ed laid out a plan, we set off for our first location. Burton's Pond, by pond standards, is a substantial body of water. It's actually about 5 kilometers long and approximately 1 kilometer wide at its widest. But it's full of bays and inlets, which means, even on blustery days, your guide can get you out of that wind for the most part. We slid into one of these bays and immediately noticed a substantial number of mayfly spinners in the air. This is what every fly fisher looks for. Mayfly spinner falls can be funny, and by that, I mean they can be unpredictable. With the enormous number of bugs in the air and the weather being stable, Ed and I were both reasonably certain that they would fall. However, within about 30 minutes of our arrival, there were virtually no bugs in the air, indicating that they had returned to the trees. The fish did react to the few that did land, but rises became very sporadic, precipitating the need for some presentation changes. I took Ed's advice and went with one of his patterns.
Just don't hesitate to try the other side.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You never know where they are.
If you see any flies at all on the water, just cast near the ones that are there. If they pick one up, they might pick yours up.
There we go. Just as you said, Ed. Don't hesitate to try the other side. That's a nice fish. Not a monster, but took that. That's a good fish. Took that stimulator good.
Keep your rod up. He's the boss.
He's the boss.
I guarantee you.
Oh, you're coming. There she is. There. That's a good fish on a dry fly. That's probably 17 inches, eh?
Pretty close to it.
Nice. Beautiful, beautiful. Come right off that rock ledge. We came into this nice calm bay here, and we did see a couple of fish rise. Ed just mentioned to me, don't hesitate to cast to the other side. We don't know, they could be anywhere in here. And when I turned around, we're
Right there, like right there. See it?
Yep.
Straight out, 11 o'clock.
There he is. He got it. He got it. That was pretty. That was pretty. That was so pretty. That's big. Oh shoot, he's gone. No, he's not. He's still there. He's still there. He just turned fast. I'm not worried about getting this line on the reel till he lets me.
That's a real big fish, man.
Yeah, that's a good fish. Yeah, that's a big fish. Yeah, that's a big trout. Well done, Ed. Way to go. Fantastic. That might be a personal best. Well, I don't know. I didn't get a measurement on that fish. I don't know if it was a personal best. It was a beautiful brook trout. We flew into Burton's Pond this morning. The weather has been hot, but the nights have been cooling off really nice, going down to like 12, 13 degrees. So the water temperatures are coming down at night. And we came into this little bay, but I wasn't really matching the hatch. Edwin said, just about anything you throw out there will work. So I tried, he gave me that big stimulator, which is the best way to fish. You can see it, it floats well. And that's the second fish we've got now. So we're gonna stick it out in here and just kind of fan it through, target different spots. We're sitting on a big rocky ledge. Both of our fish have come from out there, and I just missed another fish behind me. So this is shaping up to be a real nice day before it gets too hot here at Igloo Lake. Oh, there's a fish.
Just like that.
Just like that. I was going to make a cast. I was making a cast.
That was a good one, that was, buddy.
That's another big fish.
Yep.
That's another big fish.
Oh,
That's a good fish. Whoa, baby. That's a good fish. So I'm using Ed's rod here, which is left-handed, or right-hand retrieve, I mean, but I can manage it. I can manage it. Where's your anchor rope?
right out here.
Okay. Oh, boys. This is just about, there's another fish right there. Right there. There he is. I switched up to this big nymph. It's kind of I guess it's the closest representation I have to these big dragonflies that I've seen. I saw shucks all over the dock this morning, and I just thought I'd try something a little different. But I've got 3 fish and 2 casts, so I'll take it. He's right here. Yeah. Wow. This Igloo Lake stuff is pretty cool. I think after that fish, it's worth noting here that when Edwin was releasing it, he said, I can't get my hand around it because it's so small. That was a small Igloo Lake brook trout.
What can I say?
The morning was turning out to be better than I anticipated, with several fish over 4 pounds and fairly consistent action. It wasn't without its challenges though, and we went through several presentation changes reacting to what the trout were telling us. As much as I covet dry fly fishing for brook trout, there were periods of time when they simply weren't looking up or oriented to the surface, so we went deep for them. I've always found fly fishing to be a bit like golf. You can't go around a golf course with only one club, and this was an excellent example of having the right clubs in the bag. The trout will let you know in subtle ways of what they're looking for, and you need to be able to react and get your fly to them, no matter where they are in the column. Over the course of a day, a weekend, or even a short period of time, the trout can turn off one thing and move on to another. Where resident fish are concerned, in most cases, you know they're there. Making adjustments in your presentation is the key to success. Igloo Lake Lodge is an extraordinarily well-appointed facility, and the owners, Steve and Craig Gillingham, are committed to making upgrades where required to keep both their guests and their staff comfortable for years to come. This is clearly evident when we take a look at the changes made over the years that the new fly fisher has filmed at Igloo.
So the accommodations here, we did renovations, but we didn't increase capacity. We kept capacity at 10 people. We just wanted to make it more comfortable for our guests that arrive. So a big renovation we did was at the main lodge. It used to be double rooms. We changed to all single rooms, all private rooms. Redid the washrooms, redid the sitting area, put in a breakfast area where you can go get your coffee. And the Labrador room as well, we have accommodations for 5 people with 1 private double executive suite. So, our kitchen was a big thing that our chef really needed a modern facility to create the meals and the menu that we had provided her. That was one of our biggest renovations that we've done since the new fly fisher was here last time.
Sure, and our guide accommodations is I guess one of our gems of our renovation. The guides previously lived in a small facility with very tight sleeping quarters, and so we've expanded that, give everybody their own room, their own relaxation place, just to make it more comfortable and relaxing for the guides during their time here.
If we were here for 14, 16 weeks, we wanted to be comfortable and we wanted our guides to feel the same way. So the season runs from mid-June to mid-September. Yep. So our first guests are usually in the 12th of June. The last guests are at 16th of September. Here at Igloo Lake, we not only offer fishing for brook trout. Where else in the world are you going to get 7, 8, 9, 10 plus pound brookies? In addition to that, we also offer flies for Atlantic salmon and Arctic char. For the Atlantic salmon, we take a 20-minute flight to Owl Brook. If a typical day there, you may release salmon 20, 25 pounds up to 30 pounds. A couple grills along with that. And then we have the optional fly for the Arctic char. 2 hours north to the base of the Torngat Mountains, you're fishing in knee-deep water over a school of like 800 to 1,000 char. So, we go up there for 2 to 3 weeks in August month. We take 3 guests at a time. Not uncommon to get, 100, 120 char between the 3 guests.
We also have a sister pond nearby that we fly out to or walk to for brook trout as well. Burton's Pond, which is, it's a mecca for the brook trout. Gives somebody just a chance to explore something different than the lake and the stream here. So.
In the stream, we call it our incubator. It's where many of the smaller fish hang out. Like you can go to places like the Bowl, and you can go to Benjamin's and Archie's. You can catch these small stream brookies, pound to 2, 3 pounds. But it's not uncommon to get brook trout in the stream, 5, 6, 7, 8. In 2021, we even had a 14-pounder, estimated to be a 14-pounder released at Archie's. So there's big brook trout in the stream as well. So we have 5 guides on staff. All of our guides are very experienced. Even though some of our new guys, we have a couple that are new, but they're very experienced fishermen, much like our experienced guides here at Igloo. So they have great mentorship when they come, and it's only a little while they catch on. They know all the spots where to fish, and they already have the experience fishing anyway that we can pass along to our clients. So in addition to that, It's just a beautiful place. The scenery, our experienced guides, our chef. It's just a beautiful, beautiful place to visit. One of the biggest reasons that we got into the outfitting industry was, when myself and Steve were growing up, our vacation was on the Gander River. When the opportunity came up for this one, we jumped at it. It's something that we really love to do, and now to have the opportunity to bring our kids here is just amazing.
It's a great opportunity to do that, bring our daughters and our parents. It's absolutely phenomenal. And I think going forward, our children will want to continue our legacy here.
Our third morning found us back on the big lake and heading to one of the other iconic trout havens at Igloo, the Honey Hole. With a name like that, how can you go wrong? I've heard dozens of stories about this tiny bay, so to say I was enthusiastic would be an understatement.
We're fishing the Honey Hole here this morning. Fish usually congregate in here because there's a cold spring-fed stream in here. The water in the lake right now is pretty warm, so they come in here and just to keep cool. Land the fly lightly in here by the rocks and start stripping right away because the water's not very deep there. Fish are kind of spooky in that shallow water anyway. Just land your fly as light as you can. If you see the fish rise, get the fly there in one cast.
Unlike the previous morning, there were very few bugs around. A smattering of large caddis, the odd mayfly, along with the ever-present dragonflies were really all we saw. But Ed opted to stay with the dry fly and told me to twitch it, give it some life, move it around, make it come to life and become an attention grabber. This made sense to me, as flies on still waters, whether emerging or dropping back to lay eggs, tend to be very animated. And so I began twitching a big brown bug across likely-looking structure. As it turned out, the trout weren't really looking up. Ed and I speculated that maybe they'd gorged themselves overnight on spinners and that it might just be a downtime for them, but it was clear that we needed to shift our attention to subsurface patterns. We went through a couple or three streamers before finally putting something consistent together, and after that, it was fairly fast and furious.
There we go. There we go. There we go. That's a brookie. Look at them go. Look at them go. They like that little white woolly with a brown tail, similar to that one that we were using yesterday.
Okay.
Feels like a good fish too, Ed. Feels like a really good fish. Leaving. On the reel. Well, this was work this morning. Oh, baby. Oh, darling. Get out of those rocks. Look at him go. Holy jumping Jiminy. I've never had a brookie do that before. I was doing the same thing in the opposite direction. This is the advantage of it. Larger. Look at him go. Holy catfish. Holy cow. Now, if I didn't know better, I'd say that fish was foul hooked. The way he took off like that, I've never in my life had a brook trout do that. He's right here. He's a big fish too. He's a big fish. That is definitely my personal best brookie.
That's a big one though.
That's a big fish. That's a big brookie.
Beauty fish.
Beauty fish is right.
We just landed one nice brookie here, and hopefully there'll be more. Woolly buggers are the order of the day here right now.
It's hard to say when you turn things around if the fish just turned on or if the fly made the difference. But after going through several streamers, it seemed that the downsized woolly buggers did the trick. Regardless of why, the hookups became more consistent.
There we go. There we go. Oh, white woolly. The old white woolly. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? It's another nice, holy jeez, another great big brook trout. Oh my, 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 my. This is something else, folks. I am not kidding you. This is another 4-pound fish. If it's an inch. I don't think he knows he's hooked yet. There he goes. Now he's doing something a little more. There he goes. Oh yeah. Get off them rocks. I just ruined 1 leader. Look at the size of that thing. My goodness. Holy cow.
Okay, just lift your rod way up and bring him.
Nice. Well, I'll say this about Igloo Lake, folks. It's some fishery. And I've said this before on shows when I've been brook trout fishing. I don't know where you could consistently catch brook trout this size anywhere on the planet. I mean, I've got probably a half a dozen fish now over 4 pounds. That fish we just landed, Ed figured, was about 8. If you want to experience brook trout, man, I'm telling you, you got to come to this place because there's nothing like it in the world. We're in tough conditions right now. We spent a lot of time having to sort this out the morning, changing a lot of flies. We finally settled on this little sort of tan and white woolly bugger. My thinking is there has been an enormous number of dragonflies in the air, and this is probably the closest representation to a dragonfly nymph. We did well with a very similar pattern yesterday and the same size, and as soon as I put this on, we started getting a lot of interest, so I'm going to stay with it. We'll get a couple more. It's getting hot, so we'll be probably heading back to the camp for lunch in the next hour. But I'm just giving a little rest here, giving me a little rest, and then we're going to go back at it. There's a fish right on that rock. He's sitting there with his nose into that cold water, I bet. Oh, he's moving, he's moving. He got it. He got it. Hello. It's just a little guy. Gotta watch the anchor, you gotta watch the rocks. I saw him turn on that. I put another little fly on. And remember this, folks. Never tie just one fly. This was a little dubbed, leechy, big nymph, sort of a versatile ice dub pattern. Is one material, and it just looked good to me, and I watched this fish. He was sitting there, and as soon as the fly hit the water, he came over, and another big fish too. Another big fish. Sucked that in just like he wanted it. There.
We fished for a while longer, but the heat was getting the better of us, and lunch was calling. Remember this, at Igloo Lake, we talk about trout in pounds, not inches. For this reason, you don't want to be undergunned. While I did use a 5-weight in some situations, I would recommend fishing nothing lighter than a 6-weight with matching reels. In terms of lines, we didn't require any kind of sinking lines, but I was prepared for it if I needed them. I would say though, bring at least an intermediate line and maybe a type 3 sinking line, just in the event of higher water in the river and the lakes, or you may run into moody weather swings precipitating the need to go deep. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. We arrived in Labrador at the front end of what would be an unprecedented heat wave that swept across the East Coast. While the first 3 days saw cool nights, over the next couple of days there was little to no respite from the heat. Even the nights stayed in the mid-70s, raising the water temperatures above that critical 68 degrees for brook trout. There isn't much that anyone can do about the weather, so we were relegated to the fishing the first few hours of the morning. For our last morning, we had hoped that the cloud cover that we experienced the previous day would hang on. And for the most part, it did. Our plan today was to catch the first couple of hours of cool morning water and then leave the trout alone and fool around for some pike.
One of the things that we've definitely identified, mainly through Ed's instruction, is it kind of flies in the face of conventional dry fly fishing, but these fish like that fly moved, waked almost. We took a number of fish on waking salmon bugs, and even the spinner that I'm fishing here this morning, I tried dead drifting it over some fish a couple of times, and now I'm getting it moving, just creating a very subtle wake on the surface, just hoping to entice a take. And I don't know what it is with brook trout, but these fish, they seem to like it moving. So all I'm doing is just little short strips, raising the rod slightly, and just creating, even in the still water, just creating a little bit of movement, a little bit of animation, and we'll see what happens. It's been tough the last couple of days in the high sun. It is overcast here this morning, so we may have a better shot. But point is, just fool around with what you're doing. Sometimes what works on your home waters won't work when you're away. Fish. Yeah, it's a big brookie too. That was a crazy amount of work this morning. Oh, that's a big fish. Holy catfish, that's a big fish.
You can turn them this way.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm keeping him out. Keeping him out. Where's he at? He's got to be right in front of you. There he is. Okay, coming up. Oh, no. You gotta watch the anchor rope here. And these big fish do not do everything that you want them to do.
They go wherever they want to go.
Yeah. And it is a big one.
You can get them a little closer now to the reel.
Yeah. Come out here, come out. Come on, darling.
Don't horse him.
No, I won't. We got 2 anchors on the boat.
I almost had him.
No, he's on the other side of your net. Come out here, come out here.
On the other side of the boat, actually.
Yeah. Oh, that's a big fish. Holy cow. That is a big brookie. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I think this is it. I think this is the one. Oh, he looks good.
Hey, buddy.
That was a
hard working.
Well, it's our last morning. We have to fly out first thing in the morning, and it's almost lunch, so we're gonna go back to the lodge for lunch and sort of end it on a high note. I'm telling you folks, there's not many places in the world this accessible where they measure trout by the pound and not the inches. Igloo Lake is one of them. What you see behind you here is just an example. There's so many really cool opportunities, from rivers, small outpost ponds. If If you want to catch big trout, come here. You won't regret it.
That last brookie was memorable and among the largest I've ever landed. It was bittersweet to leave these fish, but with the sun getting high, the water temperatures would soon be hitting the threshold, and the responsible thing to do was to let them be. Our last night would be spent packing and relaxing, and of course, reflecting on what was a most memorable trip.
Well, we got to bring things to a close. Igloo Lake was all it cracked up to be. The fish we caught this week, I've never caught so many big brook trout on dry flies and streamers. It was spectacular. If you want to experience this, call the folks at Igloo Lake. You won't regret it, I guarantee it. We want to thank Edwin for keeping us on to fish all week. There was never a dull moment. We also, of course, need to thank Steve and Craig Gillingham for hosting us and all their staff. They do a great job here at Igloo Lake.
To watch other episodes in our series, look us up on YouTube or check us out on the web at thenewflyfisher.com. Until next time, good hunting, and please help to conserve our waters. From all of us at The New Fly Fisher, thanks for watching, and we'll be back soon with another fly fishing adventure.
The New Fly Fisher is supported by Newfoundland and Labrador Outfitters Association, Scientific Anglers, Trout Unlimited, WeatherTech Canada,